Well, we can bring in retired Air Vice-Marshal Sean Bell. Sean, we were hearing a bit from Alex Rossi there about why the Russians want it. Just give us the bigger picture, and it's sort of a staging post to Bakhmut.
Yeah, I mean, why Soledar is because it's a relatively small village in the middle of nowhere, really. If we look at the map, it started off with a special military operation. Putin was trying to seize Crimea, also a land bridge out back, and the whole of the Donbass. They've seized both the former. Luhansk has been taken, half of Donetsk has been taken, and you can see the empty area here. That's what Russia's focused. Challenge was the Russian army then stalled at Bakhmut. The Wagner Group, led by Prigozhin, has been the ones that the mercenary group have been trying to attack. They tried to knock down the front door of Bakhmut, but ended up with massive casualties doing that. And eventually, military sense prevailed, and they've started to try to encircle it, because by encircling the Ukrainian forces, you force them to decision to either withdraw or to fight it out. And that's why Soledar has been such a vicious fighting. It's worth also contextualising, as Alex pointed out, that the Wagner Group's led by Prigozhin, an actually convicted thief, and he has his own agenda with all of this. He's got his own agenda from a political perspective, also from a business perspective. Up till now, this has suited, using Prigozhin has suited Putin, because Putin judges that Russian society will be more tolerant of losing convicts on the battlefield than their newly mobilised men. But he's now delivered the first battlefield success for several months on the battlefield, and that will increase his power and influence, which will be a concern for Putin. From a military perspective, the worry was, when this fell, would that mean the floodgates open and the encircling happened? The prevailing view is that will not happen. The Ukrainians have exacted such a huge price from Russia for just taking this small village that they will need a breather now. But it does hint at where the focus will be in the spring for the Russian offensive.
One of those main costs, of course, the human cost.
Yeah, both sides talk a lot about the human cost. They both over-egg it. It's very difficult to work out exactly what's happening to some Ukrainian forces here. It is worth saying, though, on the offence, you generally lose more people than you do on defence. The Russians are on the offence. They're also using untrained convicts that therefore mean they're going to be at a higher rate. But just put some numbers around this. So Ukraine, even though they're claiming we can't ratify the figures, they're talking about 114,000 Russian soldiers have died. In context, the British Army is 80,000, so that's 50% more people than we currently have in an army. They're claiming that they've destroyed over 3,000 Russian tanks. We have 400 tanks in the British Army inventory. These numbers are huge. Now, notwithstanding the fact Russia is even bigger, so as a proportion of Russia's inventory, it's much smaller. But it's actually pretty clear that despite Russia having a lot of tanks, many of them have never seen the light of day and are not usable. So it's pretty significant impact on the Russian military machine.
We're at the start of what's likely to be a long winter, which most analysts say favours Ukraine. How does Russia recover from these losses to keep up assaults of that magnitude?
The short answer is not quickly. You can organise your manpower pretty quickly because you can mobilise. That's what Russia did with 300,000. That solves the quantity, so it doesn't provide the quality because they're untrained and they don't have battlefield experience. On the equipment side, to replace tanks is a lot more difficult. It's not just the hardware, it's also the huge amount of technology packed inside. And that's where Western sanctions are really biting Russia at the moment. Only overnight, the British Ministry of Defence advised that Russia is using more convicts, this time 250, to go and work in their national tank factory to try to bolster the production line. I can't imagine how that will actually improve the quality. It may improve the number of tanks rolling out, but not the quality. So the short answer is Russia will regenerate, but this process takes years, not weeks.
All right, Sean, as ever, thank you very much for clarification.